and welcome to the Highgate Selectboard meeting for Thursday, November 16th, 2017. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I'm gonna wear my little ears because the library is putting on the 8th annual Polar Express event on December 2nd, 3rd, and 9th. It's a really big deal for the children in town and an awesome event. And they usually sell out, so please get your tickets early. They are on sale now. There are very few tickets left, is what I'm told. So, in honor of our library and their event, I have my antlers on. So, we'll open it up to public comment now that I've made a complete of myself.
I own a property over here next to Velco.
Yes.
And you guys own the property behind me.
Yes.
And you own a right of way to the right of me.
Yes.
I have interest in doing something with this. Whether we switch right of ways, I need like 0.15 acres to turn my front property into something useful, like a house,
right,
for somebody to live into.
Mm-hmm.
Or I may have interest in the property that you're selling out back if somebody can give me a legit number.
Yes.
Or if anybody actually knows anything about it.
Okay.
I've been after this since middle of summer and I can't get a straight answer from anybody when I ask them, so I thought I'd come here and see where we can go with this.
Okay, so first, can you tell us your name?
My name is Robert Dufresne.
Okay. I can tell you that yes, the town voted to sell that property behind yours. That process, I had talked to Henry, which was also a member of the committee that originally looked through the pieces of property. And he agrees that the select board has the authority to do that. And it is my understanding that we will put that out to bid and be a closed bid process. And we would encourage you to bid on that property.
Okay, my other question is, you own the property behind me.
Yes.
But to get there, you gotta cut all those trees down and go over the mountain to get to it. To where I own the driveway where Velco goes in and I go in.
Yes.
I was wondering if you would have interest in using that rather than destroying this and giving me my 0.15 I need so I can proceed with the front house that I have there.
I am speaking for myself, but I think we would certainly be willing to entertain the idea once we took a look at it and see what you're proposing. I don't see any reason why we couldn't work together.
Okay, because my road is, I don't know, like 35 or 40 feet wide. And the land that you have there, I don't know exact measurements that they are, but they bounded me and the neighbor.
Right.
Which are all trees and a ledge, and for you guys to get back there, you'd have to destroy all that.
Right.
And when there's an existing road there, and if it would give me enough just so I can do something with the front piece of land that I got there. Because when I tried to turn it into a house, they told me I was lacking 0.15 acres.
Right. Whether or not a house could be there would not be our purview. You know, you would have to go through the zoning for that, but I'm sure if the board was willing, we could certainly work with you. I would tell you that it would need to be an open and fair bidding process just because that's our policy. But does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you.
Because there's an existing building already there that I've been
Yes.
told I could turn into a business.
Yes?
But I don't want to do that because today it may be a hairdresser, 2 years down the road it may be a jewelry store.
Sure.
And I don't want to keep having to change the inside of it constantly for entertaining business.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's somebody I want to lock in a business for a 10-year deal or something, which I have nobody that's confronted me on this, so.
Right. Yeah, no, I think we're very open to talking about it. taken a look at it with you, or with anyone else that might be interested in that piece of land.
So when can we expect this to happen?
If you want to contact me directly, I'd be happy to help you set up something where the select board could take a site visit and we could walk through it together and take a look at it.
That interests me.
Okay. You can either contact Wendy for my contact information, or you can see me after and I will give you that information.
I can just stop by the office tomorrow.
Certainly.
I thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
You all have a nice evening.
You too.
You're leaving?
You got what you wanted.
Don't forget, you're on the Macy property development committee now.
I think there's enough input on that.
Do I have any other public comment? Okay, move. Oh, sorry, Dave.
I don't know if it's on the agenda because I didn't grab one, but when is the road in front of the library and the end of Lampkin, my road, when are those going to become one ways? Because now that new sidewalk there, it's a pain.
It already
to come off the ends of
did.
them.
I went the wrong way today.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Well,
I went the
there's
wrong
no
way.
pole.
I didn't notice it
Not
until.
posted to come back.
I'm like, hey,
They should have had stop signs there, but they really on the back side of them should
It
have
says
had.
do not enter, clearly.
It does say that?
Yes, it does.
I didn't see that. Okay,
But they should have a one-way.
certainly something we gotta get used to.
Yeah.
And at the end of Lampkin, when you first get on
Front of the
Lampkin,
library.
that
It
should
is all there.
almost be a one-way now too, because you put 2 3/4 ton trucks there and
It's
they're
a tight
touching.
squeeze.
They are
Yeah.
touching.
Yeah, please use caution there.
But if that becomes a one-way at that end, then the trucks, the 18-wheeler size trucks coming out of the sand pits aren't gonna be able to go down the side roads. There's certain roads they're only allowed on, and I believe that's the end, they have to be allowed on that end.
You ain't gonna be able to put two of them at the end of that street side by side.
No, so something needs to be looked into for those trucks.
And I've also had a complaint about the cross street with some truck damage. So we need to address that as well. So
Where
it
was that,
is
Sharon?
with some of the dump trucks that are coming out of Wright's pit. They are chewing up the road right there. So we'll need to take a good look at that, and maybe Josh can take a look at that while he's looking at some of the roads, and
Yeah.
Pat as well, and see
Definitely.
what we need to do there to
That's
maintain
when
the
they
road.
first come out, when they first come out there?
No, more down toward your house, I believe, isn't it? Is that where the primary damage is? Are they crossing by your place?
They were, because the road was closed.
Okay.
So they were turning right there by the church on the.
Yeah, now that it's open,
Now it's open.
it should be
It should be
better.
Okay.
But, yeah, there's some
That, when they were
running up and stuff, because they're too big to turn in corners.
Right, all 100%.
Yeah. So we'll have to take a look at that and make sure everything's okay there.
And on,
So could you explain what the situation is there for those of us that don't know?
As far as
Which way is the one way, what did they do?
Oh,
Explain to
for
public.
the
one way you're coming from 78 towards Mill Hill, you can't come from Mill Hill towards 78.
right in front of the
You're in
urn.
front of the library. That's
Now it's no
one way.
longer both ways.
Okay.
The one closest to the town building here is both ways.
Yeah.
The one on the urban is one way going down towards the mill. And it's posted there, and I guess Sharon, you did see a sign on the backside.
Shelley, yes,
Shelley,
I
I'm
did.
sorry.
there's a big difference in our size. So I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah, you got horns and she doesn't.
She might have horns.
Oh, I didn't say that.
His family, he knows.
I better leave you now.
Yeah. Okay. Any other public comment?
Now that, on that end, where they extended the sidewalk out and the road out or whatever,
Yes.
they filled in where it was pavement, tore all that out, filled it in, made it lawn. On the Gore Road, they did the same thing, moved the road, put a curb down through, but never filled in the town property into like a median or little park thing or whatever. Is that anything that's gonna be done, or is that just gonna be free parking for those businesses that are there?
I don't think the business had any choice. I think that was a decision made without their input.
But the road used to go
Right.
like a foot away from the stairs going into that business.
Correct.
So that was town property, they're actually parking on it.
Right.
So is that gonna be filled in, or is that gonna be sold to them for parking, or is that just gonna be given them away as, yeah, just park there, whatever?
I think that it can stand exactly the way it is.
Because other businesses in town, it seems like whenever there's some type of road change or something, other businesses in town are profiting from the changes, and others aren't receiving the same thing.
Do you have an example of one that did not receive that?
Well, McEwen's is kind of out of the way, but,
Right.
and then you also have M&R's across the road, the gun shop, they're not receiving anything. The Zorcy's Market's not receiving anything. But you got, right here in center town, you're moving roads around and these people are gaining free parking out of it.
Like I said, I don't think it was the business's choice. I would say it was the select board at that particular time, their decision to allow that funding to go through for that curbing. So I don't think it had anything to do with one getting I think it was just a benefit that happened as a consequence of a former board's decision.
So why does the new board look into finishing up that median on that corner, or?
Because why be a prick when you don't have to be?
Well,
I don't see what we would have to gain from it.
Right.
or sell them that piece of property or something.
How much footage are you talking, David?
Park a few cars there. It's not a big footage. You drive by it every day on that corner where they're parked out
By the old Needle store.
by the old.
It would be like the town taking half your lawn for their right of way.
Or sidewalk.
But there was never parking there before, is what I'm saying. You were never allowed to park out there because you're always in the road.
Right, because it was a
It
road.
was always a road.
Right.
So
But the
they-
town chose to change the road.
Could it have been a correction on, maybe that landowner said that they owned out that far?
Right.
I don't know. I know they redid the end of Decatur by my parents,
You know,
and I can't remember, but my parents gained some. I don't know
your
if,
parents gained some there.
And I
Because
think-
used to have that little triangle there in the center.
yeah, and I think the place that Charlie Nye manages, the
Yeah.
Historical
Historic
Society,
Society.
they gained a ton
They
too.
did.
But, so I don't know that it's one particular business's gain.
The town
Well,
owns
it's
that
not
building?
particular. It's just some are gaining and some aren't.
No, he's not,
You'll have that in
Historical.
any
you don't
situation.
know?
I don't know.
No.
I think your thoughts should be taken to the
No.
planning commission too, because supporting parking for the commercial developments that everyone keeps saying they want to bring to the village
Mhm.
is gonna take parking.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing to bring up and ways to start thinking about it.
There's a lot of businesses in the center town. There's no parking.
There's no parking. So I think that thriving vet's office really benefits from having those cars, and it is that commercial development that is so desired. So ways to increase other parking areas, I'm sure would be something the planning commission would be happy to chat with.
I dare say every business in town, if you have a trailer hooked behind your truck or car,
There's no place.
there's no park to park any of them.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason I think we've supported not taking over the Route 78 was to give an advantage to a particular business in town so that he doesn't lose that option.
Yeah, 100%.
Which also, you could say, gives him an advantage. But part of it is being responsible and kind people instead of just being a hard-nosed.
And is there gonna be the sidewalk that goes through the park right here? Is there gonna be a curving put on the edge of that sidewalk, or is it just gonna stay level with the ground?
Right now, it's still level with the ground.
I was just thinking, like Memorial Day, everybody backs in there and parks down through there. So that's gonna eliminate some parking there if it has the curbing there. But you're not supposed to park on sidewalk anyways, but
Right.
it does eliminate 20 parking spots that were people used once a year.
Well, then they may have to park in the school and walk over. It's okay, we can deal with that. Okay, moving on. Treasurer's update, Shelley.
I'll be brief. Okay, check warrants first.
Does anyone have any questions about the check warrant?
Nope, I reviewed it.
While you're signing that, I'll give a quick update. Finance Committee met on Monday afternoon. We went through the draft audit and my response to it. So we should have final report back from the auditors soon. We had decided that we got no feedback from the bid, the RFQ for fixed assets, the inventory, the first round. So we did a mailing, it went out yesterday. 15 different accounting firms around the state of Vermont, that same RFQ. And we will be deciding, opening the bids and deciding who we will go with to complete the fixed assets inventory on December 11th, which is our next meeting. The bids are due back December 8th. It's a Friday. We also added a component to it to complete another audit request, the fraud risk assessment. So whoever does it will also come through here and do a financial fraud risk assessment at the same time. So we will check one more item off the list.
Great.
Next thing I'm going to throw your way is the investment policy, which was one of those auditor things. We pretty well took it straight from VLCT, other than Town of Highgate. We don't have any investments, but it is still something for future purposes that the auditors wanted to see on the books and our policies.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at the investment policy?
It's been in Dropbox for like 2 months.
Well, if I did, I'll review it again. It'll take a second.
Okay.
Josh is in here, so we gotta share.
Guess I should have brought an extra.
We know where they all are.
There you go.
I've had a handful, probably between 10 and 20 people must have either forgotten or delayed mail, have paid their taxes in full since, so that's
Great.
still coming in steadily.
And we still have the option of paying by credit card and setting up a payment policy.
Yes, payment plan, absolutely, more than happy to work with people on monthly payments, even if they've already paid their bill in full. If they wanted to start something now to get ahead of the game, they're more than welcome to do that. We do use Municipay for a credit card company, and they do charge 2.65%. It beats 9%, but there is still a fee associated if they wanted to use a card.
Okay, so that gives you an option.
Did that get signed?
No.
If you set up a payment plan, why is there a penalty?
A payment plan is so you don't go to tax sale. You are making payments in good faith to pay your tax bill. And if you are on one, then I will not put you on my tax sale list. I also have people, it's more of a budgeting tool. People have a hard time coming up with $3,000 at once. So I do have many people that pay all year round and have very little to pay once the bill goes out.
Okay.
If you don't owe money, then if you just wanted to go on start January 1 and give you $100 a month, you wouldn't charge me interest, right, until they're due. Meaning if I want to prepay my taxes,
There's
you're not going to charge me until November if there's any
no,
account.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yes. Same, I mean, if you had paid, there's a handful of people in town that once they get their tax return back, a good chunk of that comes straight to the town towards their tax bill. You're only charged interest and penalty on your delinquent balance after the due date. So the more you can pay prior, the better off you are.
Yep. And that's a great suggestion that sometimes you can use your tax refund.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So, investment policy, do I have a motion to accept the investment policy?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So carried. What else do we have in the line of finance?
Budgeting has started. I've met with the library. She's going to bring it to her trustees at their next meeting. It'll be a part of when we meet. Speaking of which, we need to set up some dates.
Yes.
But theirs is coming along. Pat and I will meet probably next week. They were just finishing up Spooner Road this week, so we were hoping to get it done this week. It didn't happen. So probably next week for highway.
Great.
Fire department is...
Yeah, if you can get us some information, we can start on that as well.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
And I know Ty was gonna come in and see me to get the Parks and Rec going.
Hey,
So
people are on it.
we are on a roll.
Good job. Thank you.
I don't know if you wanna set up a date now for budgeting or later.
So yes, we can set up sometimes. So gentlemen, we're going to need some extra time set aside for somebody budgeting requirements.
I think last year we met twice.
Yep.
Once in December and then once in January.
Yep. There's our calendar.
Were they both prior to the meeting?
No, they were special meeting. So you've got kids too.
So we have December open. So Wednesdays look like a good time. We could do 13, 20, 27. Do we have a preference?
13 would, I know holiday concerts and band
Yes.
concerts and Christmas starts the following. 13th would probably work better for myself.
Okay, I'm good for that. Steve?
Yeah.
Bruce?
I don't know.
What time are we talking?
How about 6,
Earlier is
7?
better, yep.
Earlier?
Earlier.
Not too
6?
early, yeah.
If we can do 6, can you do 6?
I have a hockey practice that night. I don't
Okay.
know, maybe I can trade that one off. So if it works for everybody else, I say go for it. I may or may not.
Okay.
Does later work?
I won't get back into town until 8 p.m. probably, so
No, that's past my bedtime.
yeah.
Okay, so let's put her in for the 13th at 6 p.m. please.
That works.
Okay.
That's all I got for you today.
Oh, fantastic. And thank you for bearing with me while they used
Send us
my
a
pen.
Reminder on that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Wendy. How's the administrator today? Or the town clerk today, sorry.
Sometimes I feel like that, but no. Okay, just minutes from November 2nd.
Have we had an opportunity to look at the minutes? Do we have any questions or concerns? All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Do I have a second?
Your turn.
All second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it.
And really quick, I just wanted to recap last Tuesday, the voting results.
Yes.
We had ballot voting all day, 7 to 7 on the MVU Capital Reserve Fund vote on consolidating that under that name. And Highgate had 175 ballots sent down to Swanton that were intermingled and hand counted. The final was 568 ballots, 417 yes to 151 no, so that did pass. And then we had a very successful and highly attended floor vote. I was so happy.
Yes.
At 7 p.m. on the Act 46 advisory question. We went to paper ballot and there was 104 ballots cast, 103 voted yes to maintain our current structure, 1 no. So I know the school board was pleased.
Yes, it was an excellent turnout.
We had our fingers crossed for 50 people
yes.
and we far exceeded that, so.
Yeah. And thank you, ladies, because I know that at 175 ballots for the day, that was a boring day.
Yeah, it was. It was long, but good.
But we appreciate your dedication and time that you put in, even though I'm sure that it was a long day.
That's it for me. Moving on.
Okay. So, now the administrator, Heidi.
And I don't have anything major, so I think I can go through this quickly too. The ADA study, I mentioned last time I needed to get an amendment just to extend the period of time because we had to delay our final hearing. So it's in your packet. I need to sign it, but I'm asking you for authorization to do that. And that just extends the period of time to the end of December. So we already did our final hearing, and once you approve those minutes and I have a signed copy, I just upload that and then we can close that right out.
Okay. So, do we have a motion to allow Heidi Birch Valenta to sign the extension on the ADA grant?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Well, I thought Richard was going to stick around and he could have told you he attended the FEMA mapping meeting on behalf of the town. So he brought the maps back. I think I forwarded the email. So basically they're taking all the input. The Public Works Department did submit information to them and there were new maps created. This is also a very slow process. It's going to be over a 1 or 2 year period of time that they're doing this, but there will be new FEMA flood maps created, which hasn't been done since the 60s, I believe, so high time.
Do they change much on that when it comes to the flood zones, or they just go by the existing?
There's a map, right, there's a folder in there with the maps, and I think they're very hard to read. And the gentleman did call, I spoke to him, I said, I find them very hard to read. The shades are so close. It's tough. I mean, and you'd have to have each of the old maps next to it to see.
That's what I mean.
So I actually was hoping Richard was going to have some comments, but he beelined it out of here. So.
And we have to be careful too, because when they change the flood maps like that, you are actually impacting your residents.
Oh, 100%.
Because once you put somebody into a flood zone that might not be in it, then up goes their insurance. I know on one particular property in town, the insurance went up $3,000.
In Highgate?
Yes.
Ooh.
So it is good to be cognizant of where those areas are, and when they change like that.
Well, that's why I asked if there was any major changes that we should know about.
We
You
had
can't read them out loud.
Warrant Road when we had the ice storm.
Yes.
That was one of the roads that was flooded. I could not get out. But since they have raised the road and paved the road, we haven't had any problems on that road. But that road was in very bad shape before you guys raised it and brought it up. I mean, it was scary.
It's still considered a flood zone there, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
Some of it, but
Yeah.
not as bad as it was
No.
before.
Right.
There's no comparison.
There will be more meetings too.
Yes.
You'll have a chance to weigh in again. So the sidewalk celebration, December 1st.
Okay.
School is coordinating a walk to school day. The buses will be dropping the kids off at St. Louis Church, and they will be walking to school on the new sidewalks.
What time?
The buses are arriving between 7:30 and 7:45. So everyone's invited to walk the new sidewalks with the kids, and I think there will be some media here too, so.
So they're gonna cross right there on our main street and take the walking path to the school?
Yes,
That way
yes.
they know they're-
And Rise VT is going to put down some chalk school buses on the sidewalks. They have chalk paint, and
Okay.
on the upper side of the crosswalk on Route 78, where we're unable to do anything because it's on the Macy property, she's going to put some chalk footprints down to
Yeah.
help connect, and then
Connect
a little
to
bit of
the-
signage up to the upper sign. So
Okay.
when you put it all together, that's quite a connection, a link from
Right.
the church all the way up to the school and to the arena. So
Yeah, so we encourage you to come with your children on the 1st of December and walk to school with them. And Rise Vermont's also, advocating more physical activity in the communities, and this is one example.
this is our Safe Routes to School project, and it's accomplished a lot of the goals that were outlined in that just by getting these crosswalks down. So big
Good.
deal. And the Better Back Roads grant for 2 separate Tart Road projects is in your packet, and that's at the intersection with Parent Road. There was a culvert under the road that's a little undersized and crushed, and it's going to be a little bit of reshaping on the driveway. It's having a little bit of erosion and just redefining that ditch. And then on the bridge over Rock River on the sharp curve, it's creating a little bit more ditching there, and then some splash pools to slow the water down as it's going over the banks in 3 spots.
Keeps it from eroding.
Yes, and gives the water a chance to settle out so that it's not going right into the brook with all the sediment in it. So it's actually going to look a little different when I submit it, because I have to break it out into 2 separate projects. We had hoped to submit it all as one, but maximum for that category is 20,000, so we have to break it out. So, but I have to submit that tomorrow. So if you could authorize me to do that,
Okay.
great.
Do we have any comments? Okay, do we have a motion to allow Heidi Birch Valenta to sign the application grant for the Better Back Roads?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
And that's it for me, except on the same water quality note, water quality advocates are invited to the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain meeting, which is, the invitation is in your folder, but that's on, in Swanton, Monday, November 20th, starting at 6:30 in the Village Complex. Same night in Franklin, A&R is coming in to do a big presentation on Lake Carmine. So one or the other meetings, both 2 big meetings that night, so same time.
Okay.
That's it.
And I do hear Lake Carmine's meetings are quite vocal and quite aggressive, so.
So that's the better choice. And so
If you're looking for drama,
you
sign
want a
up.
lively meeting
Best
at the
entertainment in
Franklin.
the county,
Pardon?
best entertainment in the county.
Well, we don't want to take hog all of it. Yeah. Okay, select board items. Dehumidifier.
We do not have an RFP yet, but we are making progress. And Josh has found a consultant that's willing to help us. Somebody who's working with JP. So we have a framework started.
Okay.
And I sent her some information today, so hopefully I'll have something for you for the next meeting.
Fantastic. I did want to mention that the highway department has done a fabulous job on the Spooner project, and our consulting engineer is quite pleased, which is fantastic news. And thanks for a very great job. It was a big job for them, and our 3 highway workers did a fabulous job. So, good job. Thank you very much. I am also going to ask at this time for a little indulgence. Our fire department, their line officers and myself have been through a couple of meetings, and we are asking the select board to cease and desist our first responder program at this time. We were not able to get the first responder program up and running successfully. We have had some difficulty and time delays in getting people tested and getting approvals, and we feel at this time the fire department has greater issues to deal with, and so for the liability and the safety of the town, we are asking that bear with us while we regroup and we get our act together and keep that option open for the future. But at this time, liability is an issue, and we want everyone safe and informed that we are not currently running that program, but hope to do so in the future with your indulgence. So I am going to throw it open to the floor if anyone has any questions or comments before we take a vote.
Can I comment first?
Absolutely.
Is that something that is controlled by the select board? Because I don't recall having a vote to, I don't want to use the word allow, but to create this, I guess, or to...
When it becomes an issue of liability, we have the fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we don't land the town in any legally compromising situations.
But like, they're not endorsed by the town.
They are. They are. In order to keep their license through the state, they have to be associated with an agency. Is that correct when I say that, Ralph?
Yeah.
And at this time, the chief has taken his name off that license, and 2 of the members have taken their name off that license, which leaves only 1 licensed practitioner at the moment, and that is not safe for the town or its residents at this time. So we need to step up and take the responsibility and say, until that is legally viable and effective, that we would not allow that to go on our insurance or to legally to back that program at this time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. We give that a lot of thought. We don't need liabilities for the town that pop up without us knowing it could happen. So it's good to catch it ahead of time.
Bruce, do you have any?
No, that's, it's a bigger risk than we should allow to remain.
It's our hope, and I'm kind of speaking for the line officers because we met last night, that we can do that in the future, be effective, and kudos to those people who have gone through the training. That was a big commitment, and I applaud you for that. And that training can still be used for their licenses and they can still test. That license is issued by the state, so they won't lose that license. But at this time, it's not appropriate for the town. So when we do a little reset, then we'll consider it. So, and I don't know if Chris or Ralph have any other comments. You're here from the fire department, or David for that matter.
I'm good. You hit it right on the head. Pretty good.
So, we appreciate everything that all of the firefighters do. And we support you wholeheartedly. And every member of the fire department is important and valuable. And your community thanks you, and the select board thanks you. And that's all I have, except Jerry.
Turn the lights on.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Am I beeping?
Yep.
Okay. The 8th annual Polar Express event, December 2nd, 3rd, and 9th. It is a fabulous time for your family. Thank you, Jerry. Did my lights go out? Bummer. So thank you very much for coming. At this time, we'll close the close the regular meeting. I make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.